Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Jansen. I want to thank everybody for joining me today on April 23rd, 2018. It's supposed to be about 70 degrees today here in the Midwest. I hope everybody had a great weekend and each and every one of you woke up this morning feeling motivated and energized. I know a lot of people don't like Mondays. I know a lot of y'all are like Garfield out there. They just wake up on Monday and want to go back to bed. Here's the thing. Every single day you need to get up and be grateful that you got up today. Now, what I like to do is I like to use some experiences of my own. I like to try to use my own situations a lot of times to give a little motivation, or so people understand that every single day we all have our battles we got to deal with. Now, the couple things that happened with me this weekend that were pretty great is one of my friends had a newborn baby boy. However, on the other hand, a couple of my friends lost their mother, and there was a couple others that had been in some accidents, and a couple others had some strokes. So as you can see, it was a very interesting weekend for me. So lots of prayers going out to all of them. Now, what does that have to do with anything? As you all know, I try to stay positive and motivated on everything I do, and I actually mean and say the things that I do. Now, this weekend, I got caught up because I've got a friend that I actually do care about and everything else. However, they got me pretty much when I was tired, I guess you could say. It's just an excuse. But they trapped me into their web. And they started bringing up past situations. I'm like, problem is, I haven't even hung out with them in over 3 years. But they wanted to bring up the past. They wanted to bring all this negativity. And now I wouldn't talk to them on the phone, but I got text after text. And it was just a buddy of mine who, for the longest time, he gets himself into some really situations that are pickles, I guess you could say. Well, here's the situation. I found myself getting stuck in that pickle of a situation, and I should not have. However, I cut it off, and, you know, of course, I got rid of that situation. But it was enough to make me think of and realize, remember exactly why I do what I do. We have to get away from negative people in our life, and sometimes we forget the ones that we think we are the closest with are the ones that hold us back the most. So when you got up this morning and, you know, over the weekend and everything else, and went out drinking and had a good time, and you were at home with your family or had some bonfires and whatnot, one of the things we forget is when we get so used to doing our rhythm and we get that sometimes people can get back to us through a back door, meaning we are unaware, we're not keeping our guard up, and what they do is they slither in and they start hitting you where it hurts you the most, and they start doing everything in their power because they want to bring you down to their level. And when we catch it, we look at ourselves like, man, I do my best to stay out of this situation. What we have to do is we don't have to basically be mean about it. Now, some people think when I tell you this that you got to be mean and rude. No, you don't. What you got to do is, first off, you got to listen to the negativity coming out of somebody. And then you got to shut them off by ignoring them, forgiving them, then turning the cheek, and basically avoiding them. I hate to say it, but it's the hardest thing in the world we can do is avoid those people we love and care about, because here's the thing. They may love and care about you, but they don't see the damage they're doing. It's like being in an abusive relationship. And I understand, you know, you can never understand when somebody's in an abusive relationship. Nobody can, because we're not in their situation. But they love them that they think they have to stay with them. It's that way with friends also. They're so negative and so abusive, they hold us back and hold us down from our dreams, our potential, from us moving forward, that we can no longer move forward, not realizing it's the very people that we're hanging around. Now, every day with the business that I do and the business that I see other people do and the people I help and the military guys that I help and the people with disabilities, I see them moving forward every day. But then I look back, and there's a couple cases that I saw that are positive cases. There are some people that have had muscular dystrophy, and I say use this one a lot, but it's got the thing. A doctor told him he's going to be in the chair almost 20 years ago. Well, you'll be in a wheelchair. Nobody, you can't do nothing about it. Your muscular dystrophy is going to take over. There's nothing you can do. In his 60s, before he died of complications, he still was not in a wheelchair. Every day I used to swim with him. Every single week I'd spend time with him. Every single week he was an influence, a positive. And he just, you know, this guy was just nonstop moving forward. And you want to know something? He was the exact opposite of who I was. But we got along because even though he was never downing on my dreams, he was never downing on political parties, even though he was one-sided, he also believed in people. And when he believed them, he would actually root for them and cheer them on. That's what we have to do every single day. So this person with muscular dystrophy that was told by doctors that 20 years ago he would be in a wheelchair, died in his 60s, 20 years later, and still not even in a wheelchair, still walking on his own with the help of supports. The other one, a young lady, I'm not going to say anybody's name or anything else, and you guys hear me that all these Sunday Christians, Monday sinners, they go to church, and, it's one of my pet peeves, because it just shows that people, they don't have a true meaning for what they want to do. They might think they do, but the second they get out of church, or the second they get out of confession, they feel that it's okay to go do it all over again. This person has never known God, has never known Jesus. I'm not going to sit there and preach to you about God and Jesus. You all know I love God, and you know I love Jesus. However, this person, I was talking to him, and it's like I got to see a root. I got to see a seed. For the first time in my life, I got to see a seed of what faith, not necessarily religion, but what faith can do to somebody. Somebody, I got to listen to their story, and the problem is they don't know me very well, and they didn't realize that I do a lot of the talking. So when I finally shut up long enough to listen to them, I got to listen to their story. And their story was heartbreaking. And then one day they finally broke down and they asked Jesus for help. They don't know any type of religion. They don't know any type of the Bible. They don't even agree with the Old Testament. But when they asked him for help, all of a sudden they're like, nobody can understand it, Jeff. My heart that was empty is now full. That's it. To me, that's the greatest sign somebody can have. But then I see all these people every day going around in life, being negative, being hurtful to people. Yet somebody that had a true need, that reached out with nobody around, received help. See, the whole point is we need to be forward thinkers. We need to be positive in everyday life. We need to be kind to those people out there. It doesn't matter what religion you are, or even if you're atheist or you don't have a religion, okay? Or no matter what. We need to be kind to people. We need to be grateful to people. If you're going in for a job interview or something else, be kind to that person that's giving the job interview. If you're the interviewer, make sure you're kind to each person that comes to that door. You don't know when you're going to find a diamond amongst coal. You don't know when you're going to find new ideas and new people with new ways of thinking that are going to benefit you or your business or your job or your sales. You never know what Marine's going to be joining in the Marine Corps today that's going to save your life tomorrow. You don't know that. But you want to know something? A little kindness, a little training, a little education, a little bit of this can go a long way. And you can never ask anything in return. The reason why is because it'll pay itself forward. Each time you're nice to somebody, somebody else will be nice too. If they're not, guess what? There's 365 million people in the United States. There's about 6 billion people in the world. Do you really think it matters if those negative people are going to keep being negative? No. Eventually they'll catch on. If they're your real friends, they'll find out later on that when you start avoiding them, and they're going to start asking themselves why. But they have to find out for their own self why. You want to move forward every single day. You need to get up in the morning. You need to be grateful that you're awake. You need to be grateful for everything you got. When you get up in the morning, you basically got to brush your teeth. You got to get some breakfast, then brush your teeth. You got to get your kids up, get them dressed, put on a clean shirt, put on clean pants, put on a clean outfit, go in there prepared. And if you have to, fake the funk. That's what I always say, fake the funk. And if you're kind and polite and you really want something enough, it doesn't matter how much you know. What matters is if you can offer something to somebody that nobody else has offered before. And you want to know something? A lot of times they're all going to have the same knowledge as you. They're all going to have the same experience as you. But what separates you from them is you were polite. You were kind. You went old-fashioned on them. You held the door. You were respectful. You said yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You know, one of the biggest compliments I think I ever got, I got a couple weeks ago. I got an inbox in my Facebook, and it told me how polite my daughter was at school. My daughter's in 5th grade, okay? And they told me how kind she was and how polite she was and how she, that brought a smile to my heart, knowing that every day I teach my daughter to be kind and polite. Her mother teaches her to be kind and polite. Her grandmother, her grandfather, her sister, her brother, or her uncles and stuff teach her to be kind and polite. And all of a sudden I get told how kind and polite my daughter is. You don't know how much that makes a father feel inside, how grateful it makes me feel that my daughter is kind and polite. But she's smart and she's educated. And you know what? She's 10 years old. Every day you go out there, people are watching you. If you're a parent, or if you got kids around you, you're going to be a hero. If you got other people watching you, they're going to emulate you. Let them. Don't keep trying to stay above them. Let them emulate you if you're doing the right thing for the right reason. And sometimes I'm going to tell you this right now. The right way of doing things is always the hardest. You know why it's the hardest to do things? Because nobody else wants to do them that way. It's so much easier to take the shortcut. It's so much easier to go around. Now, when I tell people use your brain, you know, think smarter, not harder, but sometimes you got to think hard too. Thinking smarter and harder. Now, I'm going to explain the passage or the thing I put on my Facebook the other day. You know, Henry Ford wasn't the inventor of the assembly line. He put the assembly line to use so that they could make more parts, so they could get the cars out faster. And you want to know something? That's thinking smarter. His workers still worked hard and they did a great job, but it made it easier on them, but they were still hard workers. Thinking outside the box sometimes gets us to do things. Whoever invented the pulley made things easier so we don't have to pull around big rocks, okay? Remember this, somebody had to invent the wheel. They thought smarter, not harder. But sometimes if you want to work hard, guess what? It doesn't matter how smart you are, you still have to go out there. You still have to do your best. You still have to be on top of things. But remember this, you matter. You're important. My name is Jeffrey Jansen. I am running behind today. And I just want you to know, each and every one of you matters. Each and every one of you makes a difference. And it doesn't matter if you're on my team, if you're part of my family, if you're part of anything else. If you're a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, whatever. Look at these crossing guards. When was the last time you shook your hand with a crossing guard out there? I saw them today. When was the last time you went in and saw a doctor or a nurse and you shook their hand to let them know how great they are? When was the last time you told a teacher, thank you for taking care of your child while in school? Every day you should be doing this. My name is Jeffrey Jansen. Each and every one of you matters. Each and every one of you makes a difference. God loves you. I love you. Your friends next to you know you matter. Stay away from the negative people. And I'll talk to everybody later. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.